Today in this video, I'm going to share 5 steps for you to find that right teacher for you. So let's get right into it. Step number 1 in finding the right teacher for you in your cello. Know what motivates you. If you're motivated by intimidation, then you probably need a teacher that tells you, guess what? That sucks. You're terrible. You'll never get anywhere. And so that's never going to be enough. If you're motivated by that, then you're probably going to need that in a teacher. If you're motivated by someone that inspires you and gives you, that feel-good sort of inside fuzzy feeling, then that's probably the type of teacher you need. But you don't know exactly until you dig deep inside you and find out what motivates you. So look for that motivating factor. If you are a technical person, if you are a more anatomical person, if you are a more musical person, artistic, whatever you're looking for, it may be something that is different from who you are, what you're looking for, okay? You are probably a super technical person. Maybe you're looking for an artistic person to teach you something that you have never learned in your life. You're probably a super strict person. Maybe you're looking for someone that is much more free and challenges you to think outside the box. Whatever you are, know what motivates you. Step 2, what are your short-term goals? Your long-term goals will be found in the long term. But what are your short-term goals? In the first 90 days, what do you want to learn within a week, within 2 weeks, a month with this teacher? That's what you need to know. If there's a song you want to do, an audition that you want to play, or a group that you want to jam with, you need to have a concrete idea in your mind of what your short-term goals are for cello, especially when you select a teacher for the very first time. Because the long-term goals will begin to bear fruit over time. We all want to play cello. Why? Because it makes us feel good. End of. All right, there you go. That's not a long-term or short-term goal. It's just a goal. But a short-term goal is, I have a group I want to play with. I have a performance I'd like to do. I would like to surprise my daughter at her next wedding, and I have 6 months to learn this instrument and play a song for her. A student told me that one. So, step number 2, know your short-term goals. Now for step number 3, actually finding the teacher. You're going to search everywhere and you're going to look here and there, and that's not what I'm going to talk about because you have your way. You can look online, you can look at luthiers, which are a great example, and you will find a list of people, recommendations from all sorts of people. What I suggest to you is to find a teacher that you can talk to one of their current or most recent students, because that's a way you are able to test drive. You get a review from somebody that's actually working with the teacher right now. So step 3 is find a person that is being taught by the teacher. Find a current student or recent past student of the teacher you're interested in and have a conversation with that student. That's super important. You'll get to know how the teacher functions inside that studio. And step 4 is actually physically meeting the teacher. It's very important that this initial consultation is not at all charged. There are those teachers that do charge you for every minute of their time, but what are they teaching you? That consultation is nothing unless you have agreed to an actual lesson. But don't agree to one. Say, I would like to just see if I like you. Now, if the teacher is open to that, then it's great. There should be no reason. Sit down and have coffee. They need to ask you these questions. They need to dig deep because you're going to be spending every week 1 hour or every 2 weeks. You're going to be spending a lot of one-on-one time with this person in a private environment. I suggest that you like physically being around this person. So that first initial consultation should be free and you should demand it. So remember that. Step 4 is in that initial consultation, it should be free and you should be able to be comfortable around them. Look for those non-physical cues. Eye contact, can be so important. I usually know within seconds if I like a person or not if they can look at me. Now, if it's not your culture to look at people in the eye, it's okay. That can be understood by other nonverbal cues. But if you are within a culture of eye contact, for instance, in the United States, we are a culture of people who look at each other. Here in Western Europe, it's the same way. But in Asia, it's not really an eye contact culture, so don't take it personally if your teacher is of Asian descent from Asia and doesn't look you in the eye. It's just the way it is, especially from the other way if you can't look your teacher in the eye. They need to understand the cultural differences if you come from a different culture. But it's super essential that the body language, the non-physical cues, how they speak to you, how they listen to you, if they're waiting for their turn to speak or they're actually actively listening to every word that you say. That is a type of teacher that will also actively listen to every note that you play. So step 4, non-physical cues are super important because that initial free consultation will tell you so much about the future relationship with this teacher. And step 5 is the digestion. When you leave, do you want to go home and practice your cello? Do you want to go learn something new? Or are you just thinking, this is going to be harder than ever? If you are on the upswing, if you are thinking, oh, I really want this to happen, well, good. You probably found a good teacher. If you want to go home and make some noise on an instrument or, really hash something out so the next time you see the teacher, you have something to present, well, good. But if you leave feeling with your shoulders slumped and you just don't feel at all motivated, move on to the next consultation, because the last thing you need is a teacher that makes you feel as if you should feel, honored to be in their presence. You're paying them to physically be there with you. They should be honored by you because you are employing them. Otherwise, they're not making any money. So you're in the driver's seat, remember that. And the digestion, the step 5, digestion, really sinking in and thinking about everything is super important. So that's all I have for you today, is the 5 steps of finding out what makes a good teacher and finding a good teacher for you. And so to recap, we have step 1, knowing what motivates you. Step 2, know your short-term goals. Step 3, have a conversation with a current or recent past student. Step 4, look for those nonverbal cues during the initial free consultation. And step 5, digest and let everything sink in and make your decision about the teacher later. Don't set up a schedule when your ether is all set up, is all going. So I hope you liked the video, because guess what? We're gonna learn a lot. Thanks for watching.